Good day, viewers. Welcome to Duke TV, located here in the heart of Ikeja. Kindly join us as we continue with our interview series. But today, I'm having a challenge with our guest, and that is trying to introduce her because the CV is heavily loaded, and rightly so, because she has traversed a lot through the academic frontiers. And today, if she's a professor, of course, it is well-deserved. Well, to begin with, it will interest you to know that my guest emerged the best graduating student at the Lagos State University, where she studied physical and health education in 1997. And this earned her an automatic employment from the same university as she was offered the job of a graduate assistant. That was not all. She proceeded to the University of Lagos later in 1999, where she pursued her master's degree in physical health education and emerged meritoriously. Not still satisfied, she went for another master's in the same field at the University of Ibadan in year 2000. And immediately after completion, she proceeded with her PhD, this time around specializing in community and environmental health. In her journey through the academia, she has written many articles published in reputable journals across the globe, and she has contributed chapters to articles written by others. During her stay in LASU, she was at one time Director, Sandwich Program of the University for a total of upward of 6 years, and she has been member of several academic committees as members and as chair at different times. This was the position she occupied until last year, 2023, when she was appointed as the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Lagos State University of Science and Technology. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome to our studio Professor Oladipupo. Good to have you.
Good afternoon, sir.
You are most welcome.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you. We are highly honored having you here.
My pleasure, as
Thank you. And there's this popular Yoruba adage that oni ibon. So, can we meet you, Prof?
Thank you so much, sir. Like you rightly introduced me earlier, I'll just add little. I am Professor Basirat OLADIPUPO Folarin from Ekpe, Lagos State. I was born in the late 60s, and the journey that you are seeing today started from Ansarudin Primary School, Ekpe. That was in the early 70s, mid-70s. And from there, I proceeded to Ekpe Grammar School 2. Later changed to Odobara High School, where I would say I graduated finally, because the last time I was able to make all my papers was in 1988, but that was not the year I graduated. I went back to retake my papers before I finally had what it takes to proceed. So from that 1998 till about late 1990, I was unable to secure any admission into any higher institution until I later went to Lagos State.
Back then.
It was really tough. That was the era where you have to write JAMB, and they will say JAMB to JAMB severally. So I wrote JAMB severally, about 4 or 5 times before I eventually now entered LASU. Even the journey as LASU was not that easy, because I couldn't pass JAMB, so I had to go in for the pre-degree science. My pre-degree science program was in 1990 to 1991. So thereafter, after that pre-degree, I still went back, did diploma in physical and health education. And that was the era where we had to stay in LASU, all together in LASU, for both my diploma, pre-degree, and
And the
everything
degree itself.
was about 8 to 9 years in
Oh my
LASU.
God.
Yes. But because of the determination, I was ready to go through all that, and I had no regrets whatsoever. Eventually, I graduated from LASU in 1997, and immediately after graduation, after being the best in my class, there was this policy then by the Lagos State University that
That
if you
give
are from
automatic.
Lagos, they should just retain you in as much as you are willing, and it should be a training program. So the graduate assistantship was a training program which I took gladly, and immediately I proceeded to Unilag in 1998, immediately after securing that job. So I started my first master's from Unilag 1998 to 1999. Thereafter, still went back to UI, and no space for PhD straight, because you cannot bring another master's from elsewhere and think they will just
Take
allow
you
you to
also.
take up their space. So I was
Oh,
willing.
okay, that is the reason why
Yes,
you
I
have to
was
do the
willing.
masters all
And
over again.
yes, when I learned that the masters then does not take more than 9 months, I was like, instead of me not being able to start up the PhD, I really wanted UI, and I still give it to UI till tomorrow. Is the best that I attended in all the three. So like I went back to UI, did the masters all over again, and that I was able to make a PhD grade, straight. So I started the PhD. So eventually I did my defense late 2006, and that was it. And coming back along the line after the PhD, which was the weapon I really needed to really
To advance in the
to advance
academia.
in, yes, after bringing the PhD, and luckily for us, it was the grace of God, though, not by our own doing. And LASU recognized that, because it was so strange to have young girls, not only me, myself, and a friend who happens to be a vice chancellor of another university in Lagos, and LASU having us as very young, promising girls then, and they now gave us the exposure, all we needed, the ground we needed to excel in our chosen career. They started engaging us, giving us roles, minor roles, later real roles that be commensurate with the kind of degree that we earn. And that's really helped in a way. So LASU prepared the foundation as we were then students, later as graduate assistant,
And
and all through
even
in
allowing
LASU
you to go
to
and study
now.
further
Yes,
without losing your job.
yes, we didn't lose our job, but because the two of us, myself and my friend, were resilient, it was not only us that went for the programs at UI, but because we were determined and we were like, what exactly do we want? We were not from a very flamboyant family, but because we were determined, all the men that went, we were many that went from LASU that year,
Don't tell me
and
they crashed
all of
out.
us were graduate assistants, assistant lecturers. I think we were about more than 10 of us went, but to the glory of God, it was only the two of us that were able to complete
God,
everything.
my God.
Others, many dropped by the roadside. Many, it took them another couple of years before they could bring back the PhD. So immediately we brought back the PhD, LASU recognized that, and we're given that exposure to keep on excelling. So all that, and we're still in LASU, and LASU, at the end of the day, we rose all through the ranks from GA-ship to professorship.
Yes, I was going to talk
And to
about
the glory
the
of
journey
God,
to professorship.
yes, uh, by 1st October 2017, that was when we had our full professorial chair. We were associate professor before eventually we now got the full professorship on 1st October 2017. And I'm
Let me remind you the
yes, sir.
inaugural lecture
Yes,
title.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
You know, like what the tradition we met in LASU when we were growing, we weren't all that exposed to inaugural lectures, being a young university and that. But when we went to UI and we saw the way they were doing things, we really wanted to imbibe that tradition of UI. So like we looked at almost everybody that taught us. None, only about 2 or 3 altogether that had done at their inaugural. You know, inaugural lecture is like a christening ceremony
Ceremony.
for
Come and tell
professors.
the world.
And if you are a professor and you did not inaugurate your chair, what are you professing? So with that on our minds, myself and my friend, we now said we should not really waste time in inaugurating our chair. 2 years after we got our professorship, she had her own about 2 weeks before my own, and I did mine. And I had mine in 8th of October. That was in
I know it's
2019. It was
2019.
2019. We became professor 2017, 2 years after we inaugurated
As,
our professorial chair.
sure.
And I was very, very happy with what I presented, because the topic, the title of that inaugural lecture was the goodie bag of
With health
earth problems.
Health
Earth
educator,
educator,
the
the
town crier.
Now, let me give you an illustration.
Okay.
You know what a goodie bag looks like? It's a bag that has so many things: chocolate, sweet, chewing gum, all the goodies. Then you now have that goodie. The illustration, I liken that goodie bag to health. A bag, a good thing that is maybe a community
A bag filled with goodies.
filled with goodies. But that goodies that we are talking about now is in the negative form, which is the problems. There can never be any community that does not have ups and downs when it comes to health.
Okay.
And we, the health educators, we are in health, and we all know what health stands for, the well-being of people. There, we, from our own angle, in health education, what we do is to advocate. We are not in the curative medicine.
Sector. Okay.
We are in the preventive medicine.
Okay.
The developed countries prefer to go preventive than curing.
There's even this popular saying that prevention is better than cure.
Exactly, and we are getting there. Gone are those days that the people did not really give credence to health education. But even in the developed countries now, they are now embracing that. They know that it is better for them to prevent than for them to keep on wasting money to cure the problem. So that idea now came to my mind that if I have written so many publications on health problems, different health problems, and I said, okay, it is a community. All my work was on community problems. So now I'm an advocate as an health educator. So we know in the traditional African setting the work of a town crier, Alagogo Oba.
Ben.
What the town crier does is to go about to be the one to disseminate information.
Creating awareness.
So that is what.
Sensitization.
Yes, exactly. So that was why I said all what I've done, all the works, all my publications had always been focused on community problems, community health problems, community health problems. So how do I now come into the picture of helping to really eradicate these problems? Or even if I cannot eradicate, how do I bridge in the gap between what I've seen in the various communities and what it should be, then thereby providing solutions to all those problems. So that was what took us to that inaugural lecture title, and I was able to.
That is fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
So educative and good to hear. So now still talking about community and environmental health.
Yes.
Where I've found out that among other, meaning given to it, is what we call organized community efforts in improving on our health and the well-being of the environment. Now, to what extent would you say people within different communities around you have complied with, instructions concerning the healthy way to live? So because what we find around these days is very poor environmental behaviors of our people, littering the street, blocking
Exactly.
and this generates bacteria which fall back on people's health, and where by government will now be forced to put so much money on curative, like you put it, rather than listening to the preventive aspects. Can you do your overall assessment of this situation? To what extent are people be able to comply, and what are the ways forward in case you believe that our rating is very low?
Well, that's a very big challenge that we've been contending with. And we have been advocating over time for what it should be the ideal. But we found out, I've carried out several studies, even in this Lagos state, the mega city that we are building now, and several of our findings had been able to point to the fact that people are not compliant with what have been recommended. Not only that, it could be because the numbers of people in charge of this advocacy, we could say, because we have inadequate number of people to really come out and do a kind of advocacy for what should be the ideal. Let us take Lagos as an example. Everybody, even the citizens, the individuals, all individuals knows what is right and what is wrong. But they will always want to hide under the guise of being ignorant of whatever that goes on. Okay, use Lagos as an example. Pollution. These drainage problems that the Honorable Commissioner for Environment is dealing with now. Imagine people that knows their left from their right now blocking the drainage part.
So what will happen with people of
The
lower?
drainage, when it rains, what do you expect? Now, all this that we are talking about, this being ignorant, we can now say not only for the illiterates, even the educated illiterates, so to say.
So to say, yeah.
We have so many educated people. Imagine someone after
Literate
drinking.
people that are uneducated.
Uneducated.
They are literate,
There are
but
two things.
uneducated.
There is, yes, exactly. Imagine a well-kitted person, suited man, driving a Porsche car and everything, throwing a bottle of
drink,
empty bottle of water or Coke or what have you through the window of a moving vehicle. Where do you think that goes to at the end of the day?
It's going to add to
when the rain comes, it will flush off everything. At the end of the day, they will all end up in our drainage systems. And later they will say Lagos is not what it should be. And look at flood everywhere. And they say it's a mega city. But almost everybody had contributed in one way or the other to the environment. And that was part of why, at a point in one of our recommendations, where we said, if we give a kind of legal penalties, when we introduce penalties for all this, I think people will have a change of attitude. Like, yes. We have been to Port Harcourt, we have been to Akwa Ibom, we have been to Calabar. You cannot compare all those places to Lagos. You dare not throw anything out of a moving vehicle in Calabar or Port Harcourt. The same set of people that will not do that.
Maybe because of the economy of time, probably later we'll discuss the population variation.
Okay.
The concentration here in Lagos.
Right. Yes.
It's a different ballgame.
The compliance is what
and then the kind of blackmail we suffer here in Lagos, every little form of enforcement
that is political.
Is interpreted to something else.
That is political, but they all know the truth.
So, but going forward, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Going forward, I want to, you are a very senior official of a university, the Lagos University of Science and Tech. And one of the principal problems in this country today is unemployment.
Yes, sir.
But studies have revealed to me that unemployment is not as much a problem as unemployability.
Okay.
And this has to do with skill acquisition. Now, being where you are today, the DFC admin Lagos University Science and Tech, what are you trying to do in terms of refashioning your academic program so that we enable people to earn a living after graduation without necessarily having to depend on existing jobs?
Yeah.
What kind of creativity
Yes,
are you inserting into your students?
I still want to thank God for taking me there.
All right.
That place is an eye-opener. Like what I knew before going there, you cannot compare to what I know now. Like I found out that the new university is like considering the needs of where we are, the peculiarity of Lagos. And that's why many of the courses there are fashioned towards the needs of Lagos. And being a University of Science and Technology, even from the name, you will know it's like a specialized university. And most of what they do there is practical. Go there, you will see several workshops, not only for people to learn, but how they can apply what have been learned. There, we are looking at how they can carry on some innovations, there, and creativity and all that. That is what that school is for. But leaving my school, my experience in the last, I envisioned where there will be problems for people to be employed in Nigeria. Number one, the population is too massive to be catered for. And I now found that even me in my household, I had that a long time ago, that there is nobody under my roof that will go to a regular school without learning and hard work. You go to school, then you must have a vocation that you must learn. That will go a long way to help us. Now, coming to the unemployabilities now. The problem I have seen over time is because we are not getting it right. Gone are those days that some courses or some professions are what people are always running after. I would not like to mention some that are going to, the graduates are just too many, and in their field, so many other people are contesting with them and still excelling more than them in that area. What will you do? It is one thing for you to be educated, it is another thing for you to have a relevant or prerequisite experience of what you want to take out.
And an average employer is looking for value.
Many of these unemployed graduates that we are talking about, when they are in school, we are their teachers. I was in the employment of LASU for 27 years as a university lecturer, and we know what goes on around in the university. Many of them will just come for coming sake, and you know the system is exam, which I believe is not the true test of one's ability.
Yes.
Is what they are always contented with, just reading for exam, passing, and that's all. But the practicability of what have been learned, you will see that after the exams, come next semester, ask, they might not be able to recall again. So, and by the time they now go into the labor market, for them now to be able to compete favorably with whoever that is in that circle will become a problem. And we have seen so many employers of labor writing to pros or discussing at several
not too satisfied
not
with
too
the
satisfied
quality of
the quality of graduates
products,
yes, the quality of graduates that we are churning out in Nigeria.
So how are you addressing that now?
The unemployed, that's you know, just like I told you, my school as an example, we don't so much rely on what you put on paper.
Okay.
We want to see the practical aspect of what we have learned.
Fantastic.
And that practical aspect, and I know that many schools now, they know what I'm talking about. Instead of them to just have the normal degree, they now combine with entrepreneurial
because I was even going to say that certain courses that we may even begin to identify as not too effective in terms of employment, those courses may remain. There's no problem. We can always add these skilled ones to them as combined.
That's what most universities now are doing, that you add entrepreneurial education into whatever you do, so that many of the students will have the practical experience. Let me give you an example. How can you be a graduate of agric extension or agricultural or there, and you cannot even, you don't even know how to plant,
to plow
how
or plow a
to
rig?
anything.
No,
And
too bad.
you could even use a mechanized
That's too bad.
yes. Like in my school, what we introduce is, it is compulsory for everybody, most especially the graduates from our agric faculty,
Okay.
must have a farm of their own.
Wow.
Yes, we have been
Within the
able,
school?
yes, within the school, sir.
Oh,
Within the
beautiful.
school,
That campus is so big.
it's big. So rather than for us to waste the land, what we have,
And in the course of that,
our
they are
council,
producing.
like if you come to my school by next week Tuesday or Wednesday, you
mm,
can buy a basket of tomato as cheap.
I am coming.
We have farms that we invested in,
Be
like
sure I'll
we
come.
have the tomato farm, we have the watermelon farm, the cassava farm,
Oh, beautiful.
so many.
Oh,
Now we are also
nice.
moving to Agbowa. Agbowa is we have an extension in Agbowa where people can do cage culture, the fishing. We have the water in Agbowa. A portion of the land have been given to our school where we are moving into, where we can now do the cage culture, teach our students how to breed fishes using the cage culture. So we are gradually getting there.
I'm indeed glad to hear this.
No
Because that's the
graduate,
way to go.
no graduate of fisheries will graduate without going to Agbowa, without experimenting with what we have done there, without really knowing about the breeding system that we have brought into the curriculum.
Thank you very much. Madam, this next question is closely related to the one we just treated.
All right,
I was
sir.
just going to make a remark that the Lagos State government, for the best reason known to it, establish the Lagos State University of Science and Tech. And we already have the Lagos State University.
Yes.
So can we then describe it as a duplication of efforts? Or is there a specific role or complement that this new university has come to play in the life of Lagos State?
We really want to appreciate Mr. Governor for what he has done, giving us additional,
Mr. Babajide
Olushola Sanwo-Olu, for giving us in Lagos what should be. As a matter of fact, what the 3 is not enough for Lagos. Let's give a typical example. LASU now is admitting over 64,000 students applied to LASU. There is no how LASU can admit up to 10,000. What the governor has simply done is to bring university education to the doorstep of every Lagosian, be it indigene or non-indigene. Because the slot given to LASU is grossly inadequate to cater for them. Imagine 64,000 applying to LASU. This is our small university that we just started a few years ago. Over 14,000 applied. And our quota for admission cannot take more than, yes, more than 3,000 plus, not up to 4,000.
And the 14,000 applied? Yes.
Ijaniki, the University of Education, cannot take up to 5,000 as well. So add all that together. All together, all the people that apply to the 3 universities in Lagos roughly should be more than 100,000. More than 100,000. Out of this 100,000, Lagos, the 3 schools cannot admit up to 20,000. Quote me anywhere. You will see that what the governor has done is not a disservice to Lagos, rather is helping out. And we have not had enough. And luckily, he saw the need for the university, the medical university of science, the University of Medical Sciences, which is a plus again. If he is willing to fund more university, I think it's a welcome idea. It's not a disservice to the state.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think
Yes,
I agree fully with you on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me jump quickly to this Nigerian Factor slogan. You know, we hear it, Nigerian Factor, Nigerian Factor. And only those who occupy strategic position would experience them, that factor more. Since your assumption of office of Deputy Vice Chancellor, or probably from your journey all along, what has been the experience? What is this Nigerian Factor of a thing? What is Nigerian Factor?
I don't know what the Nigerian Factor is. It could be because of my background as an health educator. We have so many branches in health education. One of them is emotional and mental health.
Okay.
That particular course will tell you, even social health as well, emotional, mental and social health is a course under health education. What that course has taught me is living every day, every step by what you see. Don't think about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Like whatever situation you find yourself, your ability to adjust to the situation and adapt makes your mental health to be okay. But in a situation where you just put all the burdens of this life on your head, it is not tomorrow. Already you are already building tomorrow, agitating, making, I don't know. So like that Nigerian Factor, in this hard situation, we have people that their salary is no more than 30,000, yet they have families. And yet we have a professor that will earn more than 600,000, yet it will not be okay. But
it's still boiled down to the same.
Exactly. So how come the person earning 30,000 is still being able to hold on, still go to work every day without much complaint by that person? But the person that is making millions every day, lamenting, like look at the situation now, the hike in fuel price or prices. How do you adapt? It simply means you cut your coat according to what you have around. If you know that averagely every day I buy fuel of like 10,000 to go to Ikorodu to work, but I could look, if I want to take public transport to Ikorodu, it simply means I have to cut some of that flamboyancy in me in order to suit what my income can take for now. At home, we have people where you know that you don't have that means to put on your generator for 24 hours when there is no light. If you don't put on generator, it will not be the end of the world now. You can just make a kind of timetable of how you can spread it. I give you an example. As a DVC admin of my school, the NEPA bill for this month alone was, last month was 28 million.
No, for how many months?
For 1 month. NEPA
That's
bill.
Unrealistic.
That's what we are saying. But what we simply do was to re-strategize now. When we saw that NEPA bill and we still have to augment with diesel, add it together on energy alone for that school, and you know we operate 3 campuses. For that school alone, averagely plus minus, we will be spending more than 30 million on energy. What we simply did was to come to the round table. How do we adjust? Not we made a kind of plea with everybody to understand the situation. So we ration what we have. We have a time to switch off some lights in some places, when to on. Like after 4 o'clock, you can't see activities in the classrooms. So why then do we want to leave on light in the classes? After 5, after 6, many offices would have gone. And we told people, when you are leaving your office, don't leave any electronics on.
Of course.
You know, we ration, we follow up. The same thing can be applicable to individual lives at home. If we can do that in our offices, what about home? Why do you have to on the light of a room where you don't have a need for? Do you understand? So like, it is really, really biting everybody. But your ability as a mental health advocate now, your ability to have a situation, now your ability now to adapt to that situation and still live a fulfilled life.
Thank you very much. I know if I leave you, we will not leave here today. Before I come to the final question, this is a man's word, so they say. It's a man's word. You know, because physique is granted to men, they can struggle more, they can maneuver more. So it's men's word, in quotes. How have you been able to move this far? Even though we are in the man's world. You are a woman.
I'm a
How have you been
woman.
able to do it?
I'm a man woman. Many
Wow.
of us are. Let me, you know, earlier in the interview, I said we women, we are more resilient in whatever we do. I gave an example of how we went to UI,
Okay.
and only 2 of us came back, and it took years for the men to
And
come
my
back.
own brotherhood, they fell off.
Yes,
We are
yes.
going to protest.
So no, women are more, you know, we have this ability
Probably
in
because men are
us.
taking care of your headache.
You don't know, no.
Men are taking care of the bills.
Who says? You don't know the situation of everybody.
That's true.
We have some women that are the family breadwinners, but
I
we
know.
can multitask at any given time. What men we see and want to drop out, women will want to continue. You will give it headlong, you want to excel, no matter what it takes. I've given you an example of what transpired when we went to UI.
Oh, yeah?
Imagine there was no study leave. We had to go for our lectures, no lecture, no study leave. We were driving from Lagos to Ibadan then, every day, almost every day, to attend our lectures. And you still have to, at times, we'll be in LASU in the morning to give lectures to our students, but afternoon, the next thing you will hear, we are in UI.
It's not easy.
Then, I never saw any big deal in it, because it could be because of the goal that we have set. We weren't looking sideways, we weren't looking anywhere.
You're just
And we
focused.
were just headlong into that. And God really crowned our efforts in doing
Alhamdulillah.
that.
We thank God for
So
that.
nothing,
We
all
thank
what
God.
men can do now, women, we can do triple of it. Yes.
Okay, I will not argue. But when I see my brotherhood, we will discuss the
You
matter all over
discuss.
again.
Okay.
Yes, so on the final note now,
Yes, sir.
there's no way we can separate health education from sports.
Yes, sir.
And we know we have spoken about unemployment. And we've seen what is happening in other climes. How sport has really engaged a lot of people and how profitable it is. What is the hope for Nigeria?
You have taken us to another realm. The only unifying factor that we have in Nigeria is sports. Not even only in Nigeria, even all over the world. What does it do for us? What it does is to build values. It gives us a kind of tolerance that you cannot see elsewhere. Sport enables you to develop this spirit of forgiveness, spirit of sportsmanship, so to say. If you compete, you either win or lose. It is not win-win every time. Even whoever you have lost to, it does not make that person your enemy. You still see them coming, hugging, coming back after their competition.
They call it the spirit of sportsmanship.
That is it. Now, let us now bring it to the Nigerian situation, where we have several religious and cultural diversities, different backgrounds for everybody. Where do we now bring a kind of unity? It is only sports that can bring all of us together, and that particular problem becomes a thing of
But
yes.
I still have to bring you back on this
It will be
because,
my
like
pleasure,
you know, it's a full topic on its own.
Yes.
Because we need to exploit it and
Yes,
try
sir.
to see
No problem.
the much we can gain from it.
Yes, sir.
I can only but just thank you so much for sparing your time to be here with us today. And we have really benefited from your talks, and I believe our viewers will benefit even more. And in any time soon, we will expect you back here again. Thank you so much.
I really want to appreciate you for bringing me here.
Thank you.
It's a great privilege for me to come out and say one or two things about what borders on the well-being and development of the community, the state and the nation as a whole. So I'll be very glad to come back anytime.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us. It's been really quite an experience with Professor OLADIPUPO, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Lagos State University of Science and Tech. And we can only thank her for promising to come back anytime soon to continue this discussion with us. God bless you as you keep watching Duke TV. Remember to subscribe, share, like, and comment on our YouTube channel, Duke TV Online. Thank you very much. God bless you.